But I want you to recognize that you have a living example of resilience in the people of Gaza today. You have a living example of resilience, a legendary example of resilience in the people of Palestine and the people of Gaza today. They are a people who have been suffocated, who have had everything taken away from them, and whose enemy has tried to break them down mentally, psychologically, emotionally, in every single way, suffocated them. While their brothers and sisters sign on to the Abraham Accords and sign on to agreements that completely disenfranchise them, even from the political power of the Muslim world. And you know what they do? They go to Salatul Fajr. You know what they do? They still live their lives. You know what they do? They still insist upon education. You know what they do? They insist upon their deen. You know what they do? They talk about their own liberation in even these tiny places of the world. If everybody else has moved on from them, they have not moved on, because they do not exist for themselves. They exist for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you talk to people in Gaza, when you talk to young people in Gaza, they know that they exist for a greater purpose than themselves. Otherwise, they would have laid down long ago and given up on their own existence. These young people that still want to get married, that still want to live their lives. If you've ever seen the weddings in Gaza, and you see 1,000, 2,000 people getting married at the same time, I want to talk about building resilience. People that will get married 1,000, 2,000 at the same time. And where are you going to honeymoon? At the coast of Gaza, where you have just a couple of hotels, a few hotels, where you can spend your time together and still insist on existence. Their resistance is their very existence. And subhanAllah, when we are here and we're talking about how we build resilience, I just want to take a moment and say that we don't just build resilience by looking at the people in the past. We build resilience by looking at the legends of the present as well. And they are setting an example for us as a people under over 7 decades of a brutal occupation, 7 decades of suffocation. And they still breathe free. They still say La ilaha illallah. They still say Palestine. They still draw their own maps. They still draw their own flags. They still refuse to be erased. That is divine aid. That is a legendary example for us all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them the support that they need. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow those children that have grown up now under the bombardment, 4 or 5 bombardments under the age of 6 years old. You've seen you've seen everything around you taken from you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them the perseverance, the hope that is necessary to survive, to move forward. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with our oppressed brothers and sisters wherever they are, the innocent, the weak, the downtrodden, wherever they are. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with them and help them against the machinery of oppression that exists today that cannot overcome the aid of divine support. Allahumma ameen.